Alex, thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen, and thanks to the Pay Dirt Media Group for hosting Chalice. So I'll be providing an update today on our world-class discovery just 70 kilometres from Perth here called Julimar. So our usual forward-looking statements and disclosures, these are available in full on our website should you wish to read in your own time. To introduce Chalice, we're a unique company with a globally significant discovery, as I said. Our Julimar discovery is a new high-grade PGE, nickel, copper, cobalt and gold discovery. And it's a sulfide discovery in Western Australia, making it one of those very rare occurrences in the space. It's Australia's first major palladium discovery. Really, before our discovery, this is almost Australia's PGE discovery that it never had, and obviously now we've really put Australia on the map in terms of palladium, but also platinum. It's emerging as a world-class strategic deposit. It's got the suite of critical green metals that no doubt you're hearing about today, and it's in a world-class jurisdiction. And having that nickel, copper, cobalt content obviously makes it very well leveraged to the battery thematic, as you heard from Wood Mackenzie this morning, but also the hydrogen thematic, and that's probably the most interesting space that we're seeing around in the clean energy space at the moment. PGEs and nickel both have a key role to play there in hydrogen. So if you like, we've timed our discovery here exceptionally well. We've also got a portfolio of gold assets that those who've been following the company may have seen. We're planning to IPO those in the fourth quarter of this year. So Falcon Metals will be a new standalone gold explorer based in Victoria. The Chalice team is well funded. It's a high-performing team. We've got an exceptional track record. We've generated about 4,000% return to our investors since the Julimar discovery in March 2020, and we're well funded to continue to do what we want to do on our project. So it's a green metals discovery, Julimar. So palladium probably does most of the heavy lifting in terms of all metals at the moment in the green space. Palladium does more CO2 extraction and more nitrous oxide extraction than any other metal. Nitrous oxide is about 300 times more potent than CO2 as a greenhouse gas. So that's why there's been such a push to increase palladium content in things like catalytic converters. But also when you convert hydrogen into ammonia for export and reconvert that back into hydrogen, there is a big application there for palladium to actually remove those deleterious nitrous oxides from those streams. Nickel, obviously we're here at a nickel conference today, so it's worth obviously pointing out that favoured chemistry is 811, so 8 parts nickel, 1 part manganese, 1 part cobalt. That is looking like the favoured chemistry all the way through to 2040, and that's putting the nickel market, particularly the sulfide market, under immense stress. So we've got an exceptional new tier 1 scale nickel sulfide deposit on the outskirts of Perth, which makes this an incredibly interesting company. And then copper and platinum as well. Platinum, a bit like palladium, very similar in its applications, very similar material properties. And obviously copper, even though this is a nickel conference, I think it's a friend of nickel. It's basically utilised in every single part of the green energy and electrification technology space. So our project, I won't go through everything on this page, but I think most people are aware we made our discovery in March of last year, about 70 kilometres northeast of Perth. That discovery is called Gonville. It's the first deposit we've found at the Julimar complex. So what we've actually found in reality is a greater than 26 kilometre long package of mafic, ultramafic geology. And we just happened to be basically drilling the first hole at the very southern end of that geology where we made the Gonville discovery. But more important than that is that we have 8,000 square kilometres of licence in and around Julimar, which now we're obviously leading the charge in this new mineral province. Really, it's the first material discovery of nickel sulfides in this western half of WA. And being so close to Perth, it's a very favourable place to build and operate a mine. Obviously, highway, rail, power, everything you could imagine is sitting there waiting to be utilised by this, what will be a very large-scale mining operation. So we're rapidly advancing Gonville, and we're commencing our regional exploration now, scaling out those same techniques which led us to the Gonville discovery. We're scaling out over that 8,000 square kilometre area. And I encourage you to come speak to my exploration manager at the booth, Kevin, who can talk you through all our activities, which are at the moment progressing at about 5 fronts at once. So our discovery, Gonville, at the bottom left-hand side of the slide there, we've drilled 600 drill holes at that 1.8 kilometre by 0.9 kilometre area. The deposit there is constrained artificially by the boundary there in green, and that is a state forest boundary that we're shortly going to gain access to go drilling. So we'll be shortly proving, I guess, how extensive this deposit extends there to the north. But Gonville itself is a remarkable discovery in its own right. It's got 13 shallow high-grade zones. Basically, the high-grade mineralisation at Gonville effectively sticks out of the ground. And we are shortly going to report a maiden mineral resource in about the middle part of this quarter. So that the Hartog there, Hartog target there is about 6.5 kilometres of anomalous EM response. We've also got about 30 ground EM conductors there to test. And it's basically got widespread nickel, copper, palladium in soils as well. So basically every indication there that Hartog is a continuation of Gonville. Now the question is, how far does the deposit extend there to the north? As you see there on the map there as well, Baudin and Jans, they're some 10 and 18 kilometres away from the Gonville deposit, a little bit more subtle in terms of EM response, but very interesting on the soil geochemistry. And I guess we are inferring that the same geology there exists. So we could have many more discoveries than just the 2 here at Julimar. So looking at, this is a snapshot of the geology as well as overlaid some recent key high-grade results on the left-hand side. So really what you're looking at there is the deposit footprint. It's about 1.8 kilometres of strike length, 1.9 kilometres now. It's open to the north, as I said, open at depth to the west-northwest as well. So those 13 high-grade zones are marked in the red and the orange on that page. As I said, 11 of those remain open, so there's still quite a bit of exploration still to do just on this southern end of the complex. And we've also got basically disseminated sulfide mineralisation between those high-grade lenses. So don't think of it as a boundary or hard boundary between high-grade and waste. This is effectively a very sulfide-rich accumulation with widespread sulfide content. So you can picture that 600 drill holes is going to deliver a very significant maiden resource, and we are modelling that as we speak, and we'll be reporting that in around about a month's time. Looking at those individual 13 zones there, you can see that they sort of uniformly strike in a northeast orientation. So this is looking down the dip of those zones in a northwest direction. And we've proven these zones extend down to 600 metres to date. So it basically starts from surface, extends down to 600 metres below surface. And I think that's really what places this project and this deposit in that world-class category, is just the sheer scale of the system. We've got a recent intercept there right on the northern part of Gonville at the top of the page there. We've basically intersected there 10 metres at 1.2 grams palladium. Interestingly, 0.5% nickel and 0.3% copper right on the state forest boundary. So anyone who was doubting or wondering whether these zones of mineralisation extend into the forest, I guess we've firmly established there that they clearly do. And what we think is happening at the Hartog target there off the top of the page there is repeats of these same stacked lenses of high-grade mineralisation, which obviously could well and truly push the deposit into a global significance. Looking now from the opposite sort of angle, looking towards a east-southeast direction, so you're looking at a pseudo sort of long section here of all the drilling and the interpreted high-grade zones there in the red and orange. You can see that the drilling is really, we still have about 1,000 metres of plunge extent yet to go before we actually hit the state forest boundary. So while we've drilled shallow holes up at the state forest boundary, we certainly haven't drilled a lot of deep holes. The one that we have drilled there did actually intersect mineralisation at the contact or at the base of the intrusion. So expect to see that 1,000 metres of plunge extent well and truly infilled, and expect to see those red and orange shapes continue down to roughly 1,000 metres below surface when we hit that state forest boundary. So you can picture, I guess, that this is a incredibly significant, large-scale mineralised system. Then north of Gonville, so everything I've been showing you there is just at the southern end of these two figures, so at the bottom of those two maps. You can see Gonville is just a small little black outline. It's like a blip on what is a 26-kilometre long system. So that's what's obviously generating such enthusiasm, such excitement around this project, is that within weeks we will be drilling along that Hartog target. We have about 70 drill holes planned over about 10 kilometres of strike length. And I guess all the indications there, as I said, from the ground geophysics, the soil anomalism, all the indications are there that we have a continuation of the mineralising system there to the north. And then further up at Baudin and Jans, as you can see on the right-hand side, there's a nice amount of soil anomalism there, nickel plus copper, very coherent nickel-copper anomalies, particularly there at Jans, 18 kilometres away from the discovery. And you can see on the left-hand side, the gravity feature here stands out beautifully. So clearly we are looking at an intrusive package of rocks there over that 26 k's. So we are counting down the days to drill the first holes in that area. In terms of extracting the metal, obviously it's not worth finding anything if you can't actually get the metal out of the rock. So we've done a lot of test work now, really focused on that high-grade sulfide mineralisation. We've proven that we've got high metal recoveries into two separate concentrates from that high-grade mineralisation, and we've also got low levels of deleterious elements. So we've got almost no arsenic, cadmium, selenium, lead, things like that, almost non-existent. So you can see there that we're able to basically produce a separate nickel, cobalt, PGE concentrate, as well as a separate copper, PGE gold concentrate for sale, and that's how we expect this project will commence, is basically selling to those two intermediate products, achieving a range of recoveries as reported in that table on the right-hand side. We're now, and we've recently got some funding from the Commonwealth Government to support, I guess now what do we do about that disseminated sulfide mineralisation, of which there will be a lot of material to process. We think we can produce a separate copper PGE gold concentrate from very, very low-grade material, but then we're likely to be producing a bulk concentrate from the remainder, and then basically now we're in a stage of looking into what else can we do in terms of processing on that bulk con, just to improve payability of that product. So we've got about $3 million from the Commonwealth Government out of the last grant, and we're looking, obviously we're well underway now in terms of the scoping study, which is targeted for the first half of next year. So initial drilling at Hartog at the top of the page there, drilling at Hartog in early this quarter, as I said, in the coming weeks, and also that maiden resource, as I said, middle of this quarter. They're significant milestones for the project, but also for the company, and obviously there's a lot of eyes on what we're doing there at Julimar, just given the scale and the significance of the discovery. The advantages of this project is that it's in a part of the world that really isn't used to mining, which has the benefit of adding a significant amount of economic diversification and employment to the Wheatbelt region. We're very cognizant of the environmental sensitivity of the area. We've done all the baseline surveys and the work you'd expect us to have done. We're using low impact drilling techniques in that forest, so we're not clearing a single tree, not cutting down any branches of any trees. We are using very, very low impact techniques in that first pass of drilling. And in terms of the community, we've recently completed 2 rounds of heritage surveys, which were fantastic to obviously build our relationship with the Whadjuk and the Yuin peoples. and we're continuing to actively engage with local communities out there. And I think there's a glowing optimism about this project and what it could do for this region. This is now, for me, the most important slide that I can convey about Chalice. It's this discovery is much larger than the Julimar district. This discovery is a province that is basically now waiting to be exploited. And if you look at the western half of WA, there is a fraction of the amount of exploration that's been done along that new West Yilgarn edge of the Yilgarn Craton. When you compare that to the Kalgoorlie Canalply terrains. So, some of the largest, the real giant nickel sulfide deposits like Norilsk, like Jinchuan, they're located on the western margin of Archean age rocks. And we've got, as you can see there, a series of projects now over a total of 8,000 square kilometres that we have to now explore over the next couple of years. And Kevin is, as I said, now working on about 4 fronts simultaneously to now explore those different project areas. We've already got indications at Barra, about 300 kilometres north of Julimar, that there is evidence of sulfides in bedrock there, and we're planning some air core drilling as a first pass this quarter. We're shortly going to restart our moving loop EM in the southwest project this quarter as well. And we're now utilising airborne EM over a very significant area to really do that first pass screening exercise. So if there was one part of Australia, or if there's one part of the planet to watch for nickel sulfide discoveries in the years ahead, it is this part of the world. It is effectively just our backyard here. So our discovery at Julimar is a world-class one. It's really transformed the company. It's transformed the industry here in WA as well. The geological maps of WA have now been significantly rewritten with our discovery. And that there's a huge amount of exploration upside in this story. So the long-term investment proposition here, and those who are following the market would see that the stock has drifted now into about the $5.70 range. If you have that long-term investment horizon and you're looking for nickel sulfide exploration upside, this is a significantly attractive investment. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to make an investment in nickel sulfide exploration, back a team with the track record and a team with the balance sheet to actually do the work. So that's exactly what Chalice has, and I certainly look forward to a very exciting quarter ahead. So thank you very much.